Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body had been frozen prior to her being put in the trunk of David's Tesla.
Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
They said he was cooperating with police. That was a lie. They said this was just a tragic situation. That was also a lie. And now the LAPD has officially labeled this what it always was, an investigation into murder. And David, he's not just a person of interest anymore. He's a suspect. If you've been following this case, you would know that Celeste Rivas, a 14-year-old, was found dead in David's Tesla.
So the body found in the trunk of a Tesla registered to popular music artist David is that of a teenage girl missing since April of last year.
But the updates that just dropped are even more disturbing and so calculated that even people who wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt are now saying he's cooked. So let's get into what we actually know now, because this new information is absolutely sickening. First off, let's address the biggest update. David is officially a suspect, not a person of interest, not someone they're just looking into. A suspect in what court documents are now calling an investigation into murder. This came out in late November when the LAPD filed paperwork to keep certain evidence sealed. So we've officially graduated from this looks bad to the police think you did it. But here's where it gets exponentially worse. Multiple sources, including ABC News and People magazine, confirmed that investigators believe David most likely had help dismembering and disposing of the body. Let me repeat that. Dismembering, that's how sickening this is. And police think multiple people were involved in cutting up a 14-year-old girl's body and hiding it in a car trunk. So this wasn't panic, this wasn't an accident, this was calculated.
From investigators and from sources that they say that her body was dismembered in that Tesla that you see right there. Early on, there were questions because her body was so badly decomposed whether that multiple people were involved in the murder itself and dismembering and concealing of the body.
And that makes it so much more disturbing. Now, remember how David's team kept saying he was fully cooperating with the investigation? Yeah, that was complete BS. LAPD sources came out and explicitly said he has not been cooperating, like, at all, from the beginning. So his reps were out here lying to the public, trying to make him look innocent, while behind the scenes, he was doing exactly what guilty people do. Lawyer up and shut up. And look, I get it. Everyone has the right to an attorney. But don't sit there and tell the world you're helping investigators when you're literally refusing to answer questions. That's not how innocent people act. That's how people with something to hide act. Now let's talk about the autopsy, because this is where things get legally messy. On November 24th, a judge granted the LAPD's request to seal Celeste's autopsy report, meaning we can't know the official cause of death, we can't know the manner of death, and everything is locked behind a court order. The reasoning was that releasing that information could compromise the ongoing investigation. But here's what's interesting. The LA County Medical Examiner, Dr. Odi Yukpo, actually opposed this. He publicly said that these kinds of secrecy holds are virtually unheard of in other counties and that his office initially pushed back because the justification was too thin. But the court sided with the LAPD, so now everything is sealed. And that's frustrating as hell because the public deserves transparency, especially in a case this high profile. The LAPD defended the decision by saying they just wanted to learn the findings before the media and the public, not to hide anything. But when you seal an autopsy in a murder investigation involving a celebrity, people are going to speculate. And boy, did they speculate. Because here's where the internet absolutely lost its mind. TMZ and other outlets started reporting that Celeste's body was found partially frozen and decapitated. Harvey Levin was on his podcast with Mark Garagos talking about how the body was in such bad condition that determining cause of death might be impossible. All these reports went mega viral. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, everyone was talking about the frozen, decapitated body. And people started thinking David might actually get away with this because of how the evidence was compromised. Except there was one problem. It wasn't true. The LAPD, in a move that's actually pretty rare, came out and publicly corrected the misinformation. Captain Scott Williams held a press conference and went on local radio to say, very clearly that Celeste's body was not frozen and she was not decapitated. He even explained why the frozen body theory doesn't make sense.
Police also saying today that reports of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body being frozen and decapitated are not true. In September, the teen's body was discovered at a tow yard in Tesla belonging to the singer.
The Tesla sat outside in Hollywood in summer heat for weeks. Anything frozen would have completely thawed and decomposed in that time. It's basic science. Now, the body was partially dismembered. Police confirmed that, but the head was intact and there was no evidence of freezing. So where did these rumors come from? Well, probably from people trying to sensationalize an already horrific story. And the LAPD was so pissed about the misinformation that they actually took time out of their investigation to correct it. That's how bad the rumors got. But even with the corrections, the damage to David's reputation is permanent, which, in my opinion, might not be the worst thing in the world. Because the more details that come out, the more obvious it becomes that this man is guilty as hell. So let's talk about the condition of Celeste's body, because the details that are public are already disturbing enough. The medical examiner's initial report, before it was sealed, noted that her remains weighed only 71 pounds. She had been dead for at least several weeks before discovery, possibly months. Police think she died back in spring 2025, which would mean David was sitting on a dead body for months while posting TikToks and going on tour. And here's a detail that makes my skin crawl. Celeste had a distinctive shh tattoo on her right index finger, and guess who has the exact same tattoo in the exact same place? David. Now, his fans will say that's just a coincidence, but come on. A 20-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl having matching tattoos, that's not friendship, that's not mentorship, that's grooming, that's a relationship. And that relationship ended with her dead in his car. Now, let's talk about the other people involved, because police have made it very clear they don't think David acted alone. They've identified at least one other suspect whose identity hasn't been released, and the internet has been doing what the internet does best, speculating. People noticed that several of David's friends unfollowed him immediately after the news broke. Some of these friends were allegedly at his Hollywood Hills house around the time Celeste went missing. There are theories about a trip David took to Santa Barbara County in spring 2025. People think maybe that's where the murder happened, or where the body was initially hidden before being moved to the Tesla. The LAPD confirmed they are aware of the trip and are investigating its relevance, but they haven't released any conclusions. And then there are the allegations of another underage girlfriend. Someone posted photos claiming they knew a girl who dated David when she was a minor. The images were run through AI detection software and came back as likely real.
Now, at the very beginning of this case, we got text messages from David that he had sent to another girl that he was talking to, and he was basically letting her know that he wanted to break things off because he was going to go on tour, she was still in school, and the long distance just wasn't going to work.
The timeline matches 2024 to 2025. So if this is true, and I'm saying if for legal reasons, then Celeste wasn't an isolated incident. This man had a pattern. There are also leaked Discord screenshots allegedly showing David encouraging underage fans to lie about their age. Now, these haven't been officially verified, but they've been circulating for months and nobody from his team has denied them. So make of that what you will. Now, let's talk about what David did after Celeste's body was found, because his actions are suspicious. When the news broke, David immediately cancelled the rest of his tour. He pulled the planned deluxe release of his album, he went completely silent on social media. And then, in the most suspicious move possible, he transferred 2 of his Texas properties into his mother's name. Why would an innocent person start moving assets around? I'll tell you why. Because he's expecting a lawsuit. Because he's expecting criminal charges. Because he knows what's coming. His landlord told reporters that David and his manager moved out of the Hollywood Hills house just days after police executed a search warrant and seized electronics and evidence. They didn't just move out. They fled, packed up everything and disappeared. And now nobody can get in touch with him. His lawyer won't comment. His reps won't respond to media requests. The man has gone full ghost mode. Meanwhile, the internet has been digging up every piece of evidence they can find. People found an old music video where David's character literally strangles a girl. And while some of this is just internet conspiracy brain going into overdrive, the fact that it's even plausible is terrifying. So it's reassuring to know that the LAPD is taking this seriously. Even Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton said accountability is coming, and that no one is off the table, including David. They're not waiting around. They're building a case. Detectives with the elite robbery homicide division have been working this for months, and sources say they're confident they'll get justice for Celeste. The problem is, without a confirmed cause of death, building a murder case is harder. Not impossible, but harder. They need the autopsy results. They need forensic evidence. They need someone to flip and testify against David. And that's probably why they're putting pressure on the other suspects. Because if one of them talks, if one of them takes a deal, this whole thing unravels. And what's interesting is that David's fans are still defending him. Go to any comment section about this case and you'll find people saying innocent until proven guilty, or we don't know what happened, or he's been framed. And look, I get the concept of due process, but at a certain point the circumstantial evidence becomes overwhelming. The car was his, the house was his, the relationship was his, the matching tattoos, the timeline, the fleeing, the asset transfers, the non-cooperation, the other alleged underage girlfriend. At what point do we stop pretending this could be a coincidence? Because this isn't just about a celebrity falling from grace. This is about a 14-year-old girl who was failed by every adult in her life and ended up dead in a car trunk. So yeah, David's dark truth has finally been exposed. He's now a suspect in a murder investigation. Police think he had help dismembering a child's body. He's not cooperating, he's moving assets, and he's hiding. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.